Oh, sorry. Good afternoon. I'm just turning up my lights. It's Vanessa here with crafting. And if you didn't see my message on the last post, I've changed things so that I'm now coming live on a Wednesday because we had Brendan normally scheduled a meeting for 1:30. Now I'm just going to double check I've got sound. Scheduled a meeting for right, all good there. Yeah, so I've decided to change the day. Oops. Scheduled a meeting for right, all good there. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, so he's at work on a Wednesday, so it makes more sense just to do it on a Wednesday. So that's what I'm doing. Just a quick mention before we get started. The joining offer that Stampin Up has had for the month of May ends this Saturday. So the offer is that you get an extra $174 worth of product, and you can choose anything at all from any online or any catalogue that's current. So that's an extra $174 worth in your starting kit, which is really just a joining order. So you just make that order. They send you some business supplies as part of that. Yeah, so that ends on Saturday, and that time will fly by. So if you've got any questions about joining and the benefits of becoming a demonstrator, then please reach out to me as soon as you can, and we can talk that through. So I'm just going to swap around onto my desk. Okay, fantastic. Oh, we don't need that cord in the way. Actually, I might just plug that into my phone. I don't quite know how much, sorry about the wiggling. I don't quite know how much battery I have. Fantastic. So today I'm using the Thankful Garden bundle, and this is one where you get stamps and dies, and as well you get masks. And oops, excuse me, the masks are numbered, and they help you with colouring in the different images. Oh, I forgot to wash them. Oh well, I did give them a wipe. Yeah, so you do the stamping and then you put the mask over, and that helps you do the colouring. So I just thought we would do that today with using the beautiful Hydrangea. I just keep using this one. I've realised when I came on, I don't think I've even used this stamp yet, so I must do something with that other floral. But in the meantime, it's fully in Hydrangea mode. So that's what the one we're using today. Right, so I've got, and I realised I was online and I found this paper that is still current. It's called Thoughtful Journey 6x6 Designer Series paper. And so it's been around for a few months, and it just has these gorgeous, and I love these colours too. The sort of the burnt orange and that's wild wheat. So it must have been around, I don't know if they brought it out the first year that wild wheat was in, but anyway, it's still current, and it's got all these beautiful colours in it. Look at that gorgeous one. And these ones with the florals, already printed on one side, and then you've got your pattern on the back. So I found a piece of that, and I'm planning to cut it. So what I want to do is do a bit of a diagonal slant and have my flowers going across the card. So I'm going to cut this to the width of my layer. So I'm actually building this on a layer because I find that easier to have something to sort of put up to the edges of. So I'm going to cut this to the width I'm using, which for me is 10, and then I'm going to cut the length, and I want to keep this colour, so I'm going to cut at 14.4 and just trim a wee bit of that off. So that gives me my size, and then I'm going to just randomly pick a point where I'm going to cut it on an angle. So this one's actually got a little mark just there on the paper. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Perhaps if I move it up. So on this particular piece, I'm just aiming for that mark. So it's quite a steep angle. And I'm starting, I've just laid this on my track. So I've got the point of that corner sort of laying in the middle of where it's going to cut. But you never start on that point. If you can imagine coming along to the point with your blade, that's probably going to just smush it. It's not going to stay as a point. So you always start at the other end, or the other option is to start in the middle. So you can go, so I press that down into the paper, and then I can go up and back. And that just cuts my angle and keeps that nice point. So there's a little cutting tip for you. And then this, I'm going to, like I said, just lay that on my layer. So that's going to be the basis for my flowers. So we'll just stick that on. Bit of a wet day here today. And it actually doesn't matter because that top part's going to be covered. Just lay that on, and then I'm just making sure it's covering down the bottom, because that's the bit you'll see. So I don't want any white showing around the base there. Okay, so then our flowers are going to come across the card, across that. And I was thinking you could stamp something here, or you could curl this edge and do different things with it. I quite like that sort of simple look with just leaving it white, but you do have other options if that's more your thing. So I'm just going to fold my base, and then we can pop that to one side. Good afternoon, Heather. Thank you. Lovely to have you along. Okay, so then I've got these bits left over, which of course I can use on another project. Okay, next thing we're going to do is stamp our flower, and I need 2 of them. So this is Memento I'm using, our black ink. And I'm going to sort of be cutting this up, but I'll stamp 2 as they are fully, because then I've got options. And you can sort of do one that way and one this way, as long as they fit widthwise on the paper. Okay, so we've got our 2 hydrangeas. And I'll do that afterwards. Got the inner to do as well. Okay, now what I might just do is separate these. And I might use a piece of scrap paper. I haven't actually organised that, but I think it will be easier if I just cut, because then I can tape. Although I can tape to the grid paper as well, the glass mat. I can put tape on there, but I think with the masks, they have a little, they've got here, they've got a number, each one is numbered, and they also have that little V shape. So the idea is that you can mark where the V is on the first one, and then the next ones that follow, you just put it in the same place, and it helps you line it up. So I think I do it 1 and 1 like that, and then put some, and I always, washi tape is repositionable, and it's quite, it's not super sticky. I try and just get some of the sticky off before I put it on. It's not so bad with this because I've put it on the edge, but if you actually have to put it over your stamped image, you don't want it taking off a layer of paper when you pull the tape off. Oh yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, so for this one, to match in with the colours on the paper, I've chosen, I'm just looking for the first mask here. I have chosen, let me put them in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've chosen Pool Party and Misty Moonlight and Petunia Pop. I think they all go well together. Now, to figure out the first one is the number 1. However, it's a bit tricky. You're sort of going to be going and spinning it around a lot to sort of figure out where it goes. So I found somebody, oh now, who was it? I can't remember who it was. Somebody told me a tip. It was a video I was watching. That you put the one on the leaves, because this is very easy to line up. You've just got this one image, so you pop that on first. Then you can mark where your little V shape is, because they all line up to that shape. And then I can either do the leaves now, or I can take that away and start working on my flower, which was what I was going to do here. But now you see I've got that to line up to, and I know with just a small amount of movement that I've got it in the right place. And then you can tape this down as well if you want to. Generally I just hold it, but you know, when you're on live TV, as it were, things go wrong, so I'll tape it down. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Right, so we're just doing the normal things that we do with ink blending. So I've got my blending brush here, and I'm going to ink it up with some Pool Party, and always start off the paper, off the design, and get rid of that first blob. And then you can even start, in this case, on the actual mask and just blend onto your project. And this, at this stage, it's up to you how dark you go. So this is kind of going to be like the background that, I don't know if you can see, but you've got your petals, and then you've just got this bit in the back here that's got nothing. So that's going to stay the colour, whatever I'm putting on at this point. The petals we can add to later with the other masks, but the bit I'm doing now is this background. So up to you to decide how dark you want that. But you know, this is the paper we're going to match it with, and you've got various different shades of the colour in there, so that's all good. Now, while we've got that one out, I might just quickly do, and we kind of know which direction we're in, this direction. Here we are. Easy to find once you know. We'll just quickly do that same thing. Now I've lost my pen. Is it under there? No. Oh, here's one. Right. So we'll just do a quick mark on this one as well. Lift that up so you can see what I'm doing. Actually, shall I bring the camera down a wee bit? That might be better. Okay, back to our Pool Party. And you can make them different too. These flowers are both going on the same card, but with hydrangeas, you've just got so many options because there are so many varieties and variances of colour depending how dried they are, you know, how long they've been, if they've been picked or on the vine, on the tree, whatever you call it. Okay, so we'll put that one aside. It's number 1 done, and we'll close up. Oh, actually, I'll leave that open because we're going to come and do the leaves. So number 2. So now when we put this one on, it's going to cover a little bit of what we've already inked. So now the background is masked off and it won't be affected by what we put on next. And I'm just lining up some of these ones that have got an edge that you can see. Okay, so at this point I went in with a bit more Pool Party, but I went a little bit darker. And I didn't do every flower. I just you just choose an area, do the top, do the bottom, do a side. In fact, I might just do a side. And I'm pressing a bit harder so I get a bit of a darker concentration of colour. And so I can do that, and then at the same time I can add some, actually I think I did the pink next. So I've got Petunia Pop, so that on my brush, and this is quite an intense colour. Probably got a bit much there actually. And so I've done some Pool Party around here, so now I'm going to head over this other side with my pink. And you can put both pink and Pool Party onto one flower, that's all fine. In fact, I might just run over those sort of lightly, just blending it all in. And it looks different every time you do it. So that's that one done. And then I'm going to go with just what I've got on my brush, I think. Let's line this one up. So I'm just moving the mask to the other image. More Pool Party, and I'll do this in a different place this time, so I might do it down here. Pick up some of these larger flowers, just go a bit more intense. And Pool Party. And then go in with the pink. I've done these, I don't know if you saw, a couple of days ago I posted a card that I'd made and done it more in autumnal colours. And that was to match the wrapping paper. I was giving a gift, and the wrapping paper I was using had leaves and was in those sort of, autumn tones with the greens and sort of the browny gold colours. So I did my hydrangeas to match. Okay, so this is our last colour now, which is the beautiful Misty Moonlight. Again, it's quite an intense one, so you don't need a lot. But now we're doing sort of the centre detail, if you like, of the flowers. And these are really cool. I've only got it taped in one place here, so you can just lift it up and see how you're going and if you want to add more colour or not. And I'm quite liking that actually. Maybe a little bit more stuff in this larger one. Yeah, just so you've got some lighter, some darker actually. I think a few of them need a bit more here. But rather than putting more ink, I'm just pressing a bit harder because I don't want to overdo it. You can always add more, but you can't take it off. But I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll move on to this one. And hey, if you stuff it up, it's just a bit of paper, right? You can just start over. So this is our blue. I think this one's going to be a bit darker because I inked it. It is, but that's okay. That's all good. What do we think? Do we need a bit more somewhere? And it's amazing how different it looks on the more intense Pool Party than it does on the pink, on the Petunia. So that's what I mean about getting the different graduated colours. And the murkier, dirty ones are really hydrangea-y, aren't they? I think this is, really cool. And if you feel now that your Pool Party, I'm feeling my Pool Party might have been a little bit light at the beginning. It will go over everything, but you can go back and add more by finding number 1 again here. If you want to add some more in the background, just get that number 1 back and a bit more pool party. And I'm not going to press too hard. You can just go back in. And it might just change the whole look. Because this is going over everything. It's going over the blue and the pink now. But it just lifts it a little bit. It's looking a little bit pale back there. And again, I'm not adding any ink, I'm just going in with my brush and just concentrating on that sort of background space. And those edge flowers, these little petals here, I might just get a smidge more, because they've sort of missed every other round after this. Just picking out those pieces. All right, very good. I've now got that a bit darker, so I'm happy with that. And now we'll do the leaves. And the leaves I did just with Pool Party. And it's amazing how with the masks and just the different pressure and amount of ink. So I'm just doing a light sort of coating. And I guess you don't really want the leaves to look darker. Well, they actually look quite different to because these are more solid. With the other, you've got lots of variegation of colour, but these are more solid. Okay, so just check that overall. Yes, that's looking good. And then we'll just move the mask to the other one. So you've got your thing, and then you also have to just make sure it's lined up on your leaf as well. That's a good guide, but nothing like actually lining it up by eye. Okay, so a bit of ink this time, and then onto my leaves. And I actually press quite hard with these, and see how I'm holding it right up near the top. The handle is quite bendy, and I do feel that you get better pressure if you hold it right down at the base, at the brush end. Okay, is that about the same? Oops. Just be careful not to disturb. Yep, that looks good. About the same colour. And then this last one, number 5, is going to give us the detail on the leaves. So again, I've got my thing here to help line it up, but then you also just want to make sure that each of the places that it's got a hole is on the leaf, within the outline of the leaf. Okay, and sticking with Pool Party, and you'll see just by doing these little bits in a little bit darker ink pressure, it really makes the leaf stand out. And I normally do circular. I find that easier, the whole motion to help me. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit darker so you can see that's there is a difference in colour, but it's perhaps not quite as dark as I want it. So I'll just get a bit more ink. And again, I always get rid of that first bit. Because the brush is rounded, you can end up with a circle. Probably not so much through the mask, but it's a habit, and it's a really good habit to just do it every time. and then you won't accidentally forget to do it when it's not through a mask. Okay, lining that up. I'll slip down the screen again. Here we go. Move back up, and I'll just close this. Okay, so going with our dark. I find this a great way to colour. It takes all the guesswork out. See how we're getting on, maybe a little bit more. The leaves probably aren't normally this colour on the hydrangea, but that doesn't matter. We're matching our paper. That's good. Okay. Carefully peel your tape off. And I've got 2 matching fish hydrangeas ready for cutting. So in the die set, oh, hi Kathleen, I've just seen your comment. Welcome along. In the die set, we've got this one that will do the whole shape, and this one does the other flower, and it does a single petal flower off the other one. There's a couple of leaves, and there's also some leaves that will die cut, just out of cardstock. They don't go round a shape. And then you've also got this one. It's worth pointing this out because this one, if you want to, you can die cut some petals and have them popped up. And I've just got to remember which way it goes. It's this little bunch down here somewhere. Again, it's just a matter of twirling it until you find where it matches in. Is it there? No. I think it's to do with that flower. Oh, here. I should mark it, shouldn't I, with a little dot. So you can just cut those 3 out by themselves. If we were doing just one hydrangea, you could colour the second one, cut those out, and then just pop them up on dimensionals or use them somewhere else on your design. So it took me a while to figure out what that was for, so I thought I would pass that on. Okay, but now we're just going to cut the 2 hydrangeas out. Actually, I wonder if this would go through my mini. Looks like it will. Give it a go. So I'm going to turn that over. I have this bad habit of leaving my plates in one direction and then they end up curving. I've got that problem on my large machine at the moment, so let's try and stop it happening to the small one. It's only just wide enough, but we'll grab a bit of that washi tape that we were using. It should be all good and not pull my design. Just to stick it while we get the other plate on. Make sure it's on the plate is the other thing. When you've got something that's slightly wide, it's easy to accidentally have at the point of a leaf hanging off and then it won't cut. Okay, so this is where you do have to be careful removing that tape. Okay, that's one. The the other thing I do is I put the die and everything on the machine, because if you do it off the machine and then you have to put it on, that can move. So I try and build everything up on the actual plates, with just ready to put the top one on when you've finished. Okay, we'll just stick that down as well. Carefully peel that off. Even though we've taken the sticky off and used it a few times, it's just gone through the machine under pressure. So you've still got to be careful getting it off, even taking it off your rubbish. Okay, so we'll put all this aside. So this one's really handy. I just have it under my desk. Got a little shelf there, and that's where it lives. Okay, put our die back. All the good habits that we know about, what we never normally do. Okay, I'll put this back in its case. So tidy, Vanessa, my goodness, who is this person? Right. Okay, so I've got my 2 hydrangeas. Let's bring back the card. Now it's a case of deciding which one you want on top, as it were. So one of them I'm going to leave whole and just position it sort of like that. So I'm just going to hide that line with my flowers. And then the other one is going to fill in the gap up to the top. And I'm going to cut the leaves off and use them, tuck one leaf in at the top. So it's just figuring out which one you want. This one's slightly brighter, I think. There's really not much in it, is there? I think I'll just do it that way. Okay, so I've got let's just move the base out of the way. So we've just got one layer we're dealing with, and dimensionals. So this leaf here is probably going to overhang the edge a wee bit. I'll just come in a bit on that leaf, because we're going to end up chopping that off. And a little bit down that side, so I won't go too close to that edge. Then I did get some new ones out. I go through a few dimensionals. Some end bits. You could stick this flat, you don't have to use dimensionals, but I like dimensionals. It just gives that little shadow around the edge of something that just adds to the look. Okay, so I'm going to have that coming down, and then I'm just going to, making sure I'm covering that little piece there, and I want the stem to sort of look just on the edge of the paper. Something like that. And then now I'm going to disconnect this one from the leaves, and I'm just going to use that leaf. So I'm not too bothered what happens to this leaf over here. And it is joined. There's a little join here that you need to trim. I'll just follow the contour of the leaf, and then I just cut that to a point like that, and then I can get my scissors in here and just following the flowers. And where I've got the green there from the leaf, I'm just going more closer to the line, and I don't have to use that side of this flower. but I'll just cut it anyway to show you. And then I'll just carry on the contour a little bit up onto here. So that's how you detach something. And then I'm going to just cut this. I can't really use that leaf because I've got all of that happening, and I really only need one. So I'll just follow the contour there and keep the stem. Not that you'll see it, it'll be tucked away. In fact, I could even just put it in there now. It's kind of going to sit there, and then this one, so the bottom of it where I just cut that away, see, you can't actually see it now very clearly, but it's here. So I could just twist it. And now my idea at the top here is to have something covering that point at the top. So a little flower and overlapping here nicely as well. So it's just a matter of figuring out the placement of this second flower. In the meantime, I'm going to put that leaf on. It can be tricky tucking things in later if you've got dimensionals under there. It can interfere with things. So let's just go like that. Now, just got to figure out, so I would need to cut, so once this is stuck on, we're going to trim this back. So I'm just figuring out how I can do it neatly without trimming too much away. That looks like a pretty good angle there actually. So I'd lose that bit there and only a little bit at the top, and that flower petal can cover my point. So I think I'll do it that way. Just try and hold it in the right direction and pull these off so I don't lose where I was going to do it. Now my finger was there for some reason. Oh, now the other thing I've got to watch is that. So ever so quickly, I'll just take the dimensionals off from that part. So I don't want to run into that stem. My dimensionals, okay. So the plan was to use the corner, the edge of that one, I think, up there. I've got my overlap. You can see my leaf. Yep, happy with that. Okay, and then we just turn it. Oops, I've got dimensionals hanging off the edge. That's a bit tricky. It's ripping my paper. Oh dear. I'm going to have to operate. I have this little scalpel thing on my desk. I'm just going to cut where that dimensional is ripping the paper. And then I can just put that on the end of there. You can also use your pick tool for that, and then just slide the dimensional in further. So I'm sliding it in under there, and so it's now not going to interfere with the edge. Then I'm going to use my snips and just cut away. So if you turn it over, it gives you a line to follow. Just follow the line. And there we have it. It's a shame to cut those little petals away, but unfortunately they don't fit side by side on a card. Right, now we've got some words to do. And this is from the set. I'm using the With Love. There's also Thankful for You Friend, which is a really nice sentiment. Actually, should I use that one instead? I would have to stamp it twice because I'm cutting it out. So no, I think I'll stick with the With Love for this one. So I'm back with my, what's it called? Misty Moonlight. Oh. I don't know if that was on camera or not, but anyway, I've just stamped that With Love there. And I managed to get my finger in the ink pad. Just got my little chamois there to clean that off. Okay, so we'll just get rid of the extra bit and pop that back in my scrap. And then I'm going to cut around the words and use them separate individually. So I'm just going in with my snips. And my snips are moving forward. And I'm turning the paper with my other hand. I quite enjoy fussy cutting. If you don't enjoy fussy cutting, then you could just take that and you could have angled the sides and just pop it on. Or you could do a die cut shape to cut it out, you know, to go around it like a rectangle or a square. And just pop it straight on. And I'm not being too fussy. I'm not going right down into the crevices of each letter. So I feel that it's something most people could manage. It doesn't take that long. Okay, so here's my width. I might get rid of that bit. Sometimes you can cut things away because they interfere with your scissors otherwise. But even this where the V is here, or the join between the V and the E, I just did a V down. I didn't go right into that crevice. Just do a little nod to it rather than deep dive. I think that's the secret to not going crazy during fussy cutting. We have a long weekend this weekend for King's birthday weekend. So hopefully this rain is gone by then. It'd be nice to have some more time in the garden. I've been doing a lot of weeding, which is kind of satisfying but kind of annoying because it always comes back. And we're ready to plant some vegetables now. So did some vegetable plant shopping yesterday. Well, some herbs and lettuces and things like that. We've got a tunnel house that we're going to plant, so that's all quite exciting. I thought I had a smaller, already used, open pack of these small dimensionals, but obviously not. So with the small ones, I cut mine in half so they fit in my little things I have on my craft table when I do classes. So I've got these little half ones down the edge. So I'm just grabbing those. And part of my word is going to be up over the flowers. So I'm just going to put one little piece the other end, like so. And then I'm just going to position that actually over that little joiny line. Oops, I want it straight. Okay, and then the word love. Again, it's going to go onto the petals. So we'll put one where the L is. And one where the V is, and we'll leave the rest. That should be enough. Sometimes if it's really close to the edge, I move it because you can still see it poking out sometimes, so I'll just turn it the other way. Okay, this one's going to come down here, so we'll just overlap it. I think that's straight. I'm not sure if the width is quite straight. It'll be fine. Okay, and that will then get stuck onto our card front, and we'll have a nice little white edge visible around. So that's just my normal layer size. I'm sure you're quite familiar with now. And all the measurements will be in the tutorial that will come out. And then I've got, for some embellishment, these little cherry cobbler and pearl adhesive backed berries. And these are still current. And I've got lots of them because I used them at an event and we used all the red ones. So I've got lots of these clear ones left over. And I love how they're clear, but they kind of pick up the colours from the paper, which I love. So, do I have a pack here? Oh, look at that. If I use that one, I'll nearly have finished that sheet. It's always good to use up something in your stash, and I'm going to just use a little tool to get that off the page there. And I want one up the top here. Do my little triangle thing. Not behaving today. And one also there. Yeah, so it's drawing your eye to the words. Okay, so that's our card front all done. Now we have to decorate the inside. And for that, I'm just going to stamp my petals again. But not fully. So I'm just going to stamp them in the corner. Sort of about there. And I'm going to leave that black and white. So I think that's quite striking. And I'm going to wipe my table, my glass mat. Otherwise, that will end up all over me. Okay. And it looks to me like that ink is just a little bit thick around those petals, and I did find I smudged a bit yesterday when I was planning this, so I'm going to be very careful sticking this in, not to touch the flower. I'm just putting glue down the one side, and then I'll hold that side away from the card while I get it in position. So I'm just checking my gap here, here and here to get that even, and then I can press that down. And that's how I do my inners. So I quite like that, just black and white, and you've got the colour on the front. Or you choose, up to you. You can colour that in if you prefer. So that's my pretty hydrangea card. With love from me until next week. And like I say, if you're on my mailing list, you'll receive the tutorial for this in your email in the next couple of days. And I'll see you again next Wednesday. Thanks for joining me. Bye. Oh, I can't finish it. What's happening? There we go. See you.